So in my color grading practice, I test out a lot of different DRTs, either whether it's in a log form or Resolve Native tool or some third-party plugin that somebody offers somewhere. And a bunch of them have their pros and cons, but fundamentally, a DRT is supposed to take you from your shooting color space to your display color space, and it's meant to give you the best possible starting points so that you can then build your grade off of. So typically I use Referent, Cullen Kelly's own DRT, and I also use openDRT. However, I've added a third one into my collection, which is Dehancer. And there are a bunch of different ways this works. And I want to just show you a bunch of different images. And I believe sometimes Dehancer works better and gets you closer to get to a very good starting point as opposed to the other ones, which they get you there, but sometimes you have to, for the project, it might not always work for that specific project. So I'm done talking. Let's just turn around and see what's up. Okay, so here we are actually in Resolve, and I have a bunch of different images that are shot with a variety of different cameras so that we can use to see how these DRTs actually perform, in different situations, different scenarios. This is King Infinity Marvel Edge. I don't know if you guys know this camera. Do you guys know this camera? If you don't, why? You should know this camera. This is shot on the R7 Canon Log 3. Canon Log 3 R7. This is the Canon C400. This is actually a RAW clip, 12-bit Canon RAW. RAW is great these days, but these days I'm just like, RAW is simply just for fun and just for, tweaking, as opposed to like actually needing that amount of file for what we actually deliver on a regular basis. It's unnecessary sometimes. 10-bit is enough, 12-bit great, 14-bit, whoa, 16-bit massive, but we're not putting our films yet on gigantic screens. It's on phones, right? So it's just for fun. Test it out, enjoy yourselves. This is FX3, so basically cameras that FX3 and the Canon is stuff that Canon Log 3, S-Log 3 Cine is something that we are used to working with here in Nigeria. So as opposed to like the C400 and the King Infinity, we can work with this. So let's just see how this DRT performs. Okay, so good. I have my notary set up here. This is usually how I've been working for the past few months. I change up my notary structure different times depending on how my workflow goes. My current workflow, this is how I structure my notary. I'm not going to really go into why it's set up this way or how I set it up. If you want to know that, maybe tell me. I'll do a video like that, and maybe I will. But currently, this is how I like to work in. As you see, I have my CST in here. For each facility, as you can see, S-Camel 3 is S-Log 3, S-Log 3, S-Log 3. This is C-Log 2, RAW. This is Canon Log 3, Canon Log 3, and then R-Log C. Now, I said this is King Infinity, right? So why am I using R-Log C? So King Infinity doesn't actually have it shows in KineLog, but KineLog is not actually available on DaVinci Resolve yet. I don't know why. But the gamma curve is actually very, very close to R-Log C, so you can actually use that and get a very good image, sometimes perfect image, when you use R-Log 3 as the input color space and color gamma. So that's why I'm doing this. Of course, everything is going into DaVinci gamma, which is what you need for the best amount of dynamic range and reach to get your images, right? So great. Now I'm gonna move on to my group, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this in a bit. So I'm gonna completely add my DRT here, which is the one I'm using, which is from Cullen Kelly. It's called Referent. It's free as well. You can go to his page on YouTube and find it there. Find the video. I think I can't remember the video now. I try to remember and I'll put it in the comments, in the caption or whatever. So this is going to apply to every single clip all at once, since I've already taken everything and put it into DaVinci gamut. So I'm just going to click the code to come here. I have a lot of lots, so bear with me. You see reference viewing lots, CKC, Cullen Kelly color, and I'm just going to go to DaVinci gamut to Rec 709. Boom. You see that? Already gives us a very good starting point, right? Look at that. Look at this. Like almost perfect color right there. And this is just, one stop coming from this to this. Boom. Look at this. This is very soft. This is a very soft looking. I love this image so much. It's well shot. Look at this. Soft. It looks very good, very filmic. So look at this, like soft. right? It's beautiful, right? Look at the reds, neutral. They look very nice. Look at this. Let's watch this play out. Look at that. It's beautiful, right? So I was gonna say the only thing I've done to this clip is that I've only adjusted the exposure. As you can see, some clips are kind of overexposed. You can see that that's overexposed. That was overexposed. Same thing with the clip like this. I think that's all I just adjusted, just the exposure, so that I'm not doing any. This one is how it is because it was well shot. Maybe I even need to increase the exposure a bit. I can do that from the raw tab, but I can also do that from here, and it's easier to just do it from here, right? You just boom, it just increases like a few stops, half a stop or so. Same thing with this. This was reduced. You can see. Same thing with this. This was everything. I think everything was actually reduced. I think this is a bit too dark for my liking, so I'm just gonna take this up a bit. So that's all the color adjustments I've done aside from the DRT at the ending. Right, great. So you can see how it renders skins very, very nicely. Very, very nicely. Like, it gets us to a good point. We have very good color. Like, even if I zoom in here, look at this hair. It's perfect. It's so cute. Of course, this was of course shot well. So please shoot your images well. Don't just shoot anyhow. Don't shoot underexposed images and then expect it to look like this. No, you have to really expose your image. Really, if you look at my scopes, aside from the adjustment I did, we're living quite well, right? I believe quite well in the scopes, right? And all right, so I'm going to show you guys a different DRT that I also use. This one is also free. It's called openDRT. You can find it on GitHub or some other pages. Well, it's free. You can install it on your in your DaVinci Resolve quite seamlessly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new version which I've already done, and here it is, right? If you don't know what I just did, leave a comment below. I'll reply your comment and tell you what I did exactly. So I've created a new version for the group. So let me zoom in a bit. So we have openDRT, Referent, openDRT, Referent, openDRT, Referent. So you see that it has a different kind of look to it, right? Referent has this, I believe Referent, for me, Referent is a very good starting point if you want to do like a serious grade on top of it. It gets you there very quick. It's contrasty. It has the right amount of detail. It doesn't fringe in neon lights. I can show you an example here. If you go to an image like this that has a lot of color, where is that spot? Right there. If I zoom into this clip here, right, you can see this is Referent, this is DRT, this is Referent DRT. Let's look, keep your eyes right here, right here, right here. Boom, boom. Like, it has a smoother granular in terms of neon lights. This is not the best example, but it actually kind of works. So it has this feel that gets you close to a very filmic look very quickly. However, sometimes you might not want to have that filmic look, and sometimes you're fighting against it. So I think openDRT gets us there. Also, let's look at an image that most likely most of us would do. A fashion, somebody walking to the camera, looking into the camera. We have something like this. This is Referent, openDRT. You see that this has, it looks more like Rec 709, even though it's not. And the good thing about openDRT is that it's customizable. I can come in here, add a different, say, colorful. I can come in here, airy. I can go dystopic if I want, right? Look at that. I can do Ariba, different tone, look presets that I can just do out of the box. Let me stick with Ariba for this one, right? I can change the contrast. Where is it? I can change the contrast. I can go low contrast. I can go medium. I can go high, depending on what I want. Basically, it works for most of your situations, right? Now, there's one more that's very important I want to show you guys, which is Dehancer's own version of a DRT. However, I cannot work with Dehancer in this kind of stage because I'm going to have to impute every single camera as it comes, as opposed to pushing it into one color space and then adding a DRT at the ending. I'm going to have to do it clip by clip just because I have a different variety of different cameras to work with. And in a situation like this, it's better if I just do it on a clip by clip basis, right? Let me set that down and then I'll show you how DRT works as well. Okay, I'm back. Now let's take a look at this. So this, as we said before, this is openDRT. Referent, openDRT, Referent. You can see that Referent has this richness to it. So I think for this image, I would actually prefer Referent as a starting point because it does justice to the blues address. Might not be as accurate as the other one. It just this is in because this is the log. They might not be very. They are just different. You know, it depends on personal preference and where you want to put the skin tone. But for the skin tones, you can see that Referent does a much better job at harmonizing her skin as opposed to what openDRT is doing, making it a bit of worse, which means I'm gonna have to do a bit more work to get the skin in the right spots as opposed to here being it all in one, simple, one stop step. Of course, this is just this image. It might work differently for a different image because, of course, this is different lighting, different lens, different sensor, right? So that's how it works. Now, let's look at let's create a new version of this, right? New version added. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this as is. And I'm going to go into here. I'm going to reset this. Right, so we're back to DaVinci Gamma. Then I'm gonna take this. This is Dehancer Pro. I'm gonna turn off the film print. I'm gonna turn off the grain, and I'm just going to come in here. I'm gonna choose camera. Select camera. It has a bunch of different cameras that you can choose from, so you're not limited. I think it has over 60 something different cameras, so your camera is most likely there. Sony FX line 3, S-Log Gamma 3 Cine, boom. You see where we are? I'm gonna name this Dehancer. So you tell me. Referent, openDRT, Dehancer. Like, like it depends on where you want to go, right? Like if I pull up all of them, and compare versions on the original, right? Look at this. This is our log. This is our log. This is Referent. This is openDRT, and this is Dehancer. It depends on what you want to do, but from what I've seen, most of the time, Dehancer actually gets you very close to a very saturated, very good contrasty DRT that works for mostly all your work. Look at this. The skin tones are preserved well. Let me increase the play version on this. The skin tones are preserved very well. It's sharp. The blues are blue. It does the punchiness of the dress. It has already taken me there. Even look at my scopes. Right? It has taken my dress ever so slightly closer to that color that it actually was. From the log, right? It's a bit punchier, but it has taken me there. And this, I can still add film emulation. I can still come in here, do this, add a film look. See, boom, look at that. That's a look already immediately. Right from there, I can come in, go to my print film, boom, print film, like right there, Kodak, boom, 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 bro, come on, like, and this is with minimal. This is with 0 to no grading. I can still come in here, add contrast if I want to, like just add a bit of contrast if I want, increase it a bit if I want. It depends on if, and this has got to me from there, right? So the trick is that I also have the CST, so it's I've taken it into DaVinci Gamma. So I am still telling it that here, it is. I'm feeding it in Sony. It's not exactly a proper workflow. You might say that it's not exactly accurate, but it works, right? Because if I was to turn this off, right, it's gonna take me here, right? And if I converge, it still does the same thing, right? It's still different. Look at it. Even when I turn off Referent, openDRT, Dehancer, like this is now more a standard one-stop Rec 709 look, and then I can add anything on top. But sometimes I like to still put this on because this gives me I'm working these tools are basically working in DaVinci Gamut as opposed to them not being. So I can still come here and then increase the exposure a bit as opposed to decreasing it, right? That's why I like to do it this way, because I'm forcing it into there and then still bringing it back out into the color space that I wish. So let's try this on a different image, right? Let's try this on Let's try it on this. I know this one could be a shocker. Let me find a very nice point to stop. Now I like the with the light slashes here. With the focus being right on here, the blur. So this is Referent, openDRT. Let's create a new version. What I'm gonna do, since it's the same camera, I'm just gonna copy what is here. Just gonna copy this and paste. Boom. Look at that. Gonna name this Dehancer. Look at that. Boom. Right there. Like it's great. I can then come in here, increase my exposure to as much as I want. And it's taking me to a very good point. Look at that. Referent openDRT Dehancer. Like the tone scales are different. Look at the grains, they're all different. All the grains are different, but then I have a lot more room, to play with. I have a lot more leeway. This is Referent, openDRT, Dehancer. Like it's great. It works. Let's try, an image like this. Right? Let's try an image like this. This is let's get into a good point right here. This is openDRT reference. This has a more drastic change to it in terms of the look. openDRT reference, openDRT reference. Let's add a new version. I'm gonna copy this. So now look at this. This is not exactly the right input because it's not Sony. I'm gonna come into here. I'm gonna come into Array. Even though this has Alexa Mini, Log C, and boom, there we are. Look at that. Look at that. I can even actually, since this has Kinefinity profiles, I can actually come in here, Kinefinity Trojan Marble Edge 8K, ISO 640, and boom, here we are. It's a very different image, right? It's such different. You know what? Let's even try a different image. Right, let's go to this. This is Canon. Let's find a nice hero frame right here with eyes and sharp. openDRT reference. Just see, openDRT, it's good, but like, look at the skin tones. Look at the skin. You tell me. Look at it. It's a lot more blotchy, patchy. I can see different. And if I look at the log, it might be accurate, but like, it doesn't look well. I'm having to work my way out of this instead of working with it, and then I go to reference. See that it's smoother. It blends the skin smoother. Let's see what Dehancer will do to this image. Let's add a new version. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna go to Canon. I'm gonna go to R7, C-Log3, PT909, and this gives me a bit of a pink shift because that happens sometimes. It's not like a very accurate, but very correctable. I'm gonna go into this. In this case, Referent does better. Referent does better. And this is why I say we can test it out. It doesn't exactly work all the time. So, like I said, it's not a proper workflow. If I was to turn this off, then it behaves better. But the skin, look at the skin tones. You tell me, like this. I wouldn't use this for work, except I have to now come in here and now start adjusting temperature. You see that, adjusting my temp tint to get me where I want. You see this, getting me here, and then I'm in a much better place than where I was before. But then just look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. So the point of this video was just to show that you need a very good DRT that will be a very good base for you to do your grading on top of it, your contrast, your saturation, your whatever. And that could be Dehancer, that could be Referent. I don't usually use openDRT anymore because most of the time with the images I get and the image I shoot, the skin tones often look better in Dehancer and openDRT depending on how it's shot. And if you want to get hands on Dehancer, just use my promo code Dynamic23 and you'll get 10% off your first order on any of their products. Use it, get it, test it out. It works very well. As opposed to just working as a film emulation plugin, it's a very good DRT in most situations. And I tend to use this for certain projects. You could see with what I did with the fashion, with the girl standing in the backdrop. It was beautiful. personally prefer that over Referent because it got me very accurate colors. It was punchy, it was vibrant, the way those kind of shoots actually look. But test it out for yourself. Go ahead, test it out. Test out Referent. Go to Cullen Kelly's page, check out openDRT, test it out for yourself, and just keep sure you keep grading properly and in the right way. And yeah.